From the Business Radio X studios in Woodstock, Georgia, it's time for Cherokee Business Radio.
Welcome back to Cherokee Business Radio. I am Joshua Kornitsky, professional EOS implementer and your host. Before we get started with our full house full of guests, I just need to let you know that today's episode is brought to you in part by our community partner program, the Business Radio X Main Street Warriors, defending capitalism, promoting small business, and supporting our local community. For more information, go to mainstreetwarriors.org. And a special note of thanks to our title sponsor for the Cherokee chapter of Main Street Warriors, Diesel David Inc. Please go check them out at dieseldavid.com. All right. Let me introduce Ramona Long. Ramona is the owner of Northwest Georgia's Money Pages. She's a franchisee who her exact franchise has won the last 3 years Best in Georgia for marketing firms. Not only does she serve the local community, but she herself is a longtime advocate for all of the locally owned businesses. But before she became an entrepreneur, Ramona spent years in education, special ed, educational leadership, and then virtual learning initiatives. Welcome, Ramona. It's really exciting to have you here and to talk about all of the wonderful work you do.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's begin at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey that got you to this place.
Okay. So I'm going to go way back to why I got into education in the first place. One of my best friends had an older sister who had cerebral palsy, and I am older, so back in the day, if you had cerebral palsy, they put you in the basement room next to the boiler, and you never saw them, like they just weren't in class or whatever. And the year that I went into second grade, she went into fifth grade, and they got a new special ed teacher who was this young, dynamic lady who all of a sudden these kids were in the lunchroom and on the playground. And even though my friend's sister was in a wheelchair, she was on the playground playing kickball. That teacher put the ball in her lap, let her roll it, pushed her around the bases, and it was great. And I just always enjoyed school, loved it, and really wanted to do something impactful with my life. So I decided I wanted to go into special education. And I had seen the difference that it made in their family when I went to their house, on how everything just changed when she was included in part of everything. And at the end of her high school career, she was class valedictorian.
That's amazing.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So I was like, that is the kind of change I want to make. So I got into that, and I did that for 27 years. Pretty much held just about every position you can think of in education besides superintendent and principal. Because my first job out of college was working for the government overseas, running their youth services program.
Spy.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
I tell my stepkids I was part of the FBI, so that's how I always know what they're doing.
Nice.
They just don't realize that my kids have them on social media. But anyway, so I got into that and did that for a very long time, helped launch the first public K-12 virtual online school, all of this up in Massachusetts. And then my husband got a promotion to be a national director for Coca-Cola, so we moved down here to Georgia. We've been here 9 years. Absolutely adore it here. Absolutely adore it. There's some people in the room that actually, when I got into entrepreneurship, were so supportive to us as people, as new business owners. Asha and RJ Patel, you'll talk to them later.
Don't give away the ending.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Spoiler alert. But then when I moved down here with him, obviously, I decided to go back to being just a classroom teacher, with those air quotes there, because there's no such thing as just a classroom teacher. And really early in the school year, my dad had a stroke and needed care. So I resigned and took early retirement, and I needed a new venture that was going to take all of what I'd spent my life in terms of really looking at my life as a stewardship, and the whole concept of it takes a village, as cliche as that sounds, that's my thing.
It's not a cliche, it's a fact, I think.
It is. It really is. And for me, I looked at a gazillion and one different franchises, and I came across Money Pages. And what I really love about it is it's helping communities save and businesses grow. My dad was a small business owner. My husband's dad was a small business owner. And the people in the room, they're the ones who provide the scholarships and support the Little League teams and the band trips and all of that. We drive that local economy. And to that point, I've literally never bought anything online because I staunchly support local. So when I found Ellen Worley, who is our corporate founder and CEO and just an amazing Christian man, and saw what he was doing with marketing, I really liked it and embraced it and realized that this was a path that I could take that would help me continue being impactful in my community, with quality marketing for locally owned and operated, licensed and insured quality businesses.
So, I mean, it sounds like MoneyPay just kind of spoke to you on a spiritual level and on a family level and on a community level.
Yes, it really did. I try and look at my life, and shout out to Ken Jocelyn at the Create Conference for really kind of helping me focus this at this point in my life. But I look at my life in terms of faith, health, relationships, business, and finance from a stewardship mindset. And, when people engage in marketing, there's no guarantees, but they need a partner that they can trust who isn't just going to take their money, because having grown up as a child of a small business owner, every penny out of that business comes right off your family table or the tables of the people you employ. And if it's not working for you, you shouldn't be working with us. That's our mindset. So we are very transparent about what we do, how we do it. We track our results. We communicate regularly with our clients because we want them to grow, because they're the ones pouring back into our community. So if our local businesses are healthier, our communities are healthier, which means our schools are healthier and our children have more opportunities. It's just a ripple effect. So I really love that opportunity to get to help people realize their dreams.
You are not the average marketing mindset. You are not, and that's a compliment.
Thank you.
You keep using a word, or you've used it a couple of times, and when we spoke earlier, you mentioned this word. Would you help us understand what you mean by stewardship?
Well, we all own businesses, so we are business owners, but there's a bigger purpose to what we're doing. Stewardship is a little different than ownership, because ownership means I have it.
Sure.
Stewardship means that I am intentionally and carefully protecting and growing our assets and our resources and the environment, all of those things, not for myself, but for my employees and the next generation and the community at large, because we all have a finite amount of time here. So my thing is that I want to be impactful and do good and leave a legacy that can continue, not just make money for myself. Clearly, I never wanted to be a gazillionaire. No one goes into education who wants to be rich. So that was never my That was never my life goal. But I look at it that way. Like, now we've grown enough that we have employees. You guys have employees. Their families depend on us. So if I'm not stewarding my business well, and I'm not stewarding my employees well, then my business isn't going to do well. If I don't steward my partnerships well. At the end of the day, we've all done marketing, myself included, as a business owner. And not everything is something that flips the switch the way you want it to, right?
Sure.
So that's when we pivot and regroup and refocus. And that's the thing that I look at. Like, I don't look at a contract and say, but you signed on the dotted line. I look at the business owner and say, am I meeting your needs? And if I'm not, let's pivot and figure out what that means. And sometimes that's a different service with me. And sometimes that's a referral to someone else. And that's what we do. And sometimes we say no to people. We're not a fit for you, because that's the right thing to do.
It sounds like a really collaborative approach to doing business, but I have to just jump back to stewardship for one moment to it reminds me of the quote that I will certainly get wrong, but it's essentially the planting of seeds for trees for whose shade you will never have the ability to enjoy, right? And
absolutely.
And that speaks very much to a mindset that I think leans into your values as a business owner and as an EOS implementer. Values are something that are pivotal, a core pillar of EOS is understanding who you are, because that's the only way you can make sure that you've got people working for you that align to your beliefs.
Absolutely.
And beliefs, for clarity's sake, are core values are the guiding principles that you run your life and ideally your business on. So would you say that they are part of the way you take your approach to running your business?
Absolutely. I mean, we came into Money Pages, and of course, they have their own mission statement and core values. But then beyond that, as a franchise that is in a different state, because our corporate is down in Jacksonville, Florida, we have our own little culture. And it's interesting that you bring that up because for us, we're 8 years in now, and we've been the number one franchise the last 3 years and all of that stuff. So it's pretty great. But along the way, we've had our challenges. Hiring has been the biggest struggle. I'm sure
I think that's a universal one these days.
And then I went to Ken Jocelyn's Create conference several months ago, and I got the opportunity to hear, and I'm going to forget his last name, but his first name is Horst, and he's this tiny little German guy that founded everything Ritz-Carlton from the hotel standpoint. And he talked about that, and he talked about shifting your mindset if you're really going to be a steward of your business from hiring for function to hiring for purpose. And really getting people to understand what is the purpose beyond your mission statement and whatever. What is the purpose behind what we do? Why do we do what we do? And for us, it's to drive that local economy. It's to help our friends and neighbors who have dreams like we do of just doing a good job with a service they love for their friends and neighbors in their community. That's kind of what it is. And finding those people, especially when you're hiring for sales, who respect and understand that and value that as much as we do so that they protect how Alan Worley, our founder, down to us as the new local owners, really want to do business. We don't sell services to people who aren't going to get the results that they want. And making that shift and really recognizing that they come to us with a purpose for their own life, and how does their purpose in their life get served by what we do and offer to them as an employee, and being very mindful of pouring back into them so that whatever we do is helping them fulfill their purpose. And it has made all the difference. We have amazing people. Sean Rayborn has been truly such a blessing. I can't say enough wonderful things about that man and what he has contributed to the growth of this company here in Northwest Georgia. Melissa Pearson's joined us. Frank Lillig's joined us. My daughter Brittany actually does the books for us. She's amazing.
I love how you're calling out your whole team. Well, and I think that's great.
I have to because and to shout out to the corporate people down there. I talk to Alan probably 1 or 2 times a week as the corporate founder of Everything Money Pages, which is pretty much unheard of in a franchise model.
Sure.
He's wonderful. And they have shout out to his wife, Kristen, who runs Money Pages Foundation. Philanthropy is a huge part of what we do and was a key selling point for me when I chose this business. So, but yeah, and that all kind of feeds into purpose and stewardship. I know I'm sitting in a room with people who do unbelievable amounts of things for the communities that they service too. So I'm trying to be a little humble because in the shadow of these amazing people, it's pretty great.
The most amazing thing of all is that it's, and I say this with purity in my heart, it is not a competition. Let's all help somebody, and that all works out. But I want to press you on something that's really important.
Okay.
Tell us who Money Pages helps.
Oh, okay.
Other than our local community, obviously, we want to make sure that anyone that's listening to this understands what it is you're offering and in what ways you can help them or their business.
Well, from a business standpoint, for our direct mail piece, we mail to 220,000 premier homes across Kennesaw, Ackworth, Woodstock, Roswell, Powder Springs, Marietta, and Alpharetta. We're larger than HomeMag now in the metro Atlanta area, which is pretty great. So we have a direct mail magazine with flyer and postcard options. For those people who are doing anything direct mail in those towns, please contact me. I promise you, my design team has been doing this for 27 years. They're amazing, and we are the most cost-effective way, even more cost-effective than EDDM, because we do all the work for you, and we're
acronyms are bad for people that don't know what they mean.
EDDM, if you're a business owner, maybe you know what it is. It's you go to the post office and you do your direct mail pieces on your own.
Okay.
And people think, oh, that's a great deal, and that's all well and good. Or they see the Facebook, 5-cent postcards. Yeah, well, that's not including your design. That's not including your paper. That's not including the shipping to the post office. It's not including your postage. And by the time it's all said and done, they're way more expensive an option than what we are. And you get somebody who's doing all of that for you for less. So there's that piece of it. We are a full-service marketing agency, so we can do anything other than billboards. But what I have found our sweet spot as a franchise is that direct mail piece, our OTT streaming television, because Metro Atlanta's live radio is really expensive to buy into.
I know that from my past life.
Yeah, so streaming television is a great option, and we do that incredibly well. and also too, we're one of the, even though we're not one of the larger marketing firms in the nation, we are one of the top in targeted display digital advertising. So we do that. Those are those pop-up banner ads. It's kind of that stalking marketing. So when you're shopping for shoes and then next week you're looking for a restaurant, those shoe ads are following you. That's us.
We call that personalized.
Yeah.
Personalization.
Yeah, personalization. It's very custom. And we actually can do our digital services for anybody across the nation. So myself as a franchise, we were blessed to be able to partner with Angry Crab Shack corporate headquarters, Christian Brothers Automotive corporate headquarters, and a few others. So if you're looking for somebody who really wants to sit down and learn about your business, learn your goals, and give you advice about what next steps should be in marketing, that's us. It's always a free conversation. And at the end of it, if we're a fit, great. If we're not, let me tell you who you can talk to. So it's just our mission to help.
Are there certain size organizations that you are better suited to serve? Because, the community has a lot of solopreneurs, and a solopreneur may or may not always be a good fit for the type of service you're offering.
Well, our digital services tend to be more for those businesses who've been around 3+ years, maybe have, 10 employees plus, and then huge, because Christian Brothers National, huge.
Sure.
So the digital services are great, but for your solopreneur, the direct mail is really a great entry point to be able to put yourself in front of homeowners. And unlike a home mag, we work with all industries. So we have hair salons and pet groomers and restaurants. We actually are so blessed that we have a subsidy from our Christian corporate owner to be able to offer really great rates for restaurants, because let's face it, a roofer gets one roof, his marketing's paid for the year, but the restaurant guys are really struggling right now. So those of you listening, please look it up. And if it's not a locally owned franchise restaurant or a locally owned restaurant, please don't go to the big chain stores. They don't need your business the way your local owners do. And I promise you, having been in the restaurants and eaten at all the ones we feature, you wanna support the local guy. You really do. So please do that. But so restaurant owners, pretty much anybody. And quite frankly, if you're listening and you aren't sure if we're a fit, I promise you, if you're not a fit for us, I'm going to tell you how you can get your business going with somebody else or some other marketing stream, because we're called to help one another. And that's what we do every day.
I love that philosophy. So let me ask you this then. What are some of the common mistakes or assumptions people make about marketing, so that when they sit down with you, and let me preface this by saying I grew up in the automotive industry, and in the car business, people sit down with the phone book, which that's a directory for those of you who don't know of all the numbers in a local area. People would sit down with a large list of preconceived notions, and I'm very pleased to say that, having grown up in the car business with my father raising me, he taught me that you could make a fair profit and people would come back to you, or you can make an enormous profit and you'll never see them again. Mm-hmm. When he passed, he was selling cars to the grandchildren of people that he sold them to initially because he treated people fairly.
Absolutely.
But when people show up to that meeting with you, regardless of their size, what are some of the assumptions that they come in with that may not be correct?
I think one of the things that people automatically say, and I hear this all the time, is direct mail doesn't work anymore. So that's the first assumption they make. And I will say, a very little known fact, direct mail is a larger industry than the automotive and gas and oil industry in this country.
Wow.
Huge. Yeah, it's a huge industry. And we have people who are on our R&D team that do research and all of that. And some of the interesting things is the millennials actually trust direct mail more than any other form. Like when digital first came around, we do digital, and digital has its own, like each marketing channel has its own place and its own purpose and its own strategy. But from a direct mail standpoint, it is your most affordable entry point for call to action marketing you can get. And it really does work. I have call tracking. It's trackable. So like in our magazine, the phone numbers that you see are call tracking numbers. I can hear recordings, and I listen to them, and I do data analysis across my industries and by client to know how are they doing, what are we seeing, what are the trends. We reevaluate every month. What did they get calls about in regards to the offers? It's very custom. So they think that it's just sort of like bulk junk mail, and it's really just not. It's an opportunity to tell your story. They also think that marketing can be like a one-off. I just want to do 1 month. marketing,
Sure, that's an effective strategy.
My business owner friends are all laughing because they know that there's no silver bullet in marketing. There's not. And they also expect that there's guaranteed results. And I will say, if anybody who's talking to you about marketing sits down across from you and guarantees you anything, they're not being honest. They can't. I tell people all the time, short of opening up the safe and busting out my Glock and breaking into somebody's home and holding it to their head and saying, hey, call PCT Cleaning, get your house cleaned, I can't guarantee a phone ringing. I can
and
just
even then, they're probably not going to give a great Google review because of the lady with the gun.
Exactly, right? So I
you're
know
going to pay for it somewhere.
That's an extreme thing, obviously, and I'm just trying to be a little funny. But they do expect that there's going to be guarantee me results, and that's just not a reality of marketing. And that's why we at Money Pages meet monthly, because we're not letting it go 6 months and you dumped all this money and it hasn't been working. Every month we're talking so that we're pivoting and changing strategies and tweaking things until we find that sweet spot that's getting you the results that we wanted. So they come in thinking it's just all about price and it's just a package, but it's all really very custom. So
it sounds like it's a tailored experience. It's definitely not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
So second to last question, if you want anyone to remember something from what we've talked about today, what would the one thing you'd want to kind of stick with them?
I think for me, it would be, remember that you are the steward of your life. You are the steward of your own faith and your own health, which needs to come first, because if you aren't right with yourself, you're not 100% for those people counting on you in your life. And then next, relationships are the most important thing. We are not transactional, we're very relational. And be careful with the relationships in your life, because you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So use that time in your relationships wisely. And then when it comes to business and finance, I can help you with that. So remember Ramona Long with Money Pages if you want to grow your business from a business finance side.
And that's the last question. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, you can go to our website, you can call the number from our magazine, or you can email me, ramona.long, R-A-M-O-N-A. People spell it like Romano cheese a lot of the time. .long@moneypages.com, or just give me a call.
And we'll publish those links so that people that were scrambling to get a pen will be able to get to those. Ramona, thank you so much for sharing your perspective, for sharing your philosophy, and for sharing your willingness to collaborate and work with people, because it is so much more that you carry than just making profit for your company. Mm-hmm. You do help carry the community, and that makes an impactful difference on everybody.
Yeah. Well, it is event season, and as you know, people who are big on philanthropy, we sponsor a lot of community events. So if you see that blue Money Pages tent somewhere, come on over and come say hi to me and the team. We always have some free stuff to give away, and we get to chat about our local business partners and tell you about some good people. And if you're listening to and you just need something for your life and you're not sure who you can call to trust me when I tell you I've got a quality, locally owned and operated business that I can put you in touch with. So call me for that too. I learned really early that as much as it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a bigger village to grow a business. And, you know, if you're just a community member, please support local. It's not a hashtag. It's a lifestyle.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Ramona Long, the owner of the Northwest Georgia Money Pages franchise that has won the last 3 years Best in Georgia for marketing firms. Yeah. They serve the local market. Ramona herself is a longtime, very clear advocate for locally owned businesses. Yes. And with an extensive background in education, she clearly has a level of patience working with individuals to help them better understand how they are best served.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, Josh.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks.
My next guest, I am thrilled to introduce, and if you can hang around with us for a little while, Ramona, I'd love to have you here, is Diamond Ford. Diamond is the founder and CEO of Don't Touch My Hair by Hollywood, a company providing luxury beauty services within senior living communities. What began as a career in cosmetology evolved into a mission-driven business focused on dignity, connection, and creating meaningful experiences for older adults. welcome, Diamond. I'm so happy to have you back in the studio.
Well, good morning.
I messed up the first time you were here, and we won't go into that other than I am grateful to have you back. And your story everyone's story is obviously unique, but your story in particular really stuck with me. Would you mind sharing with us the path that got you where you are today? And then we'll talk about what you do and where we'll go with that.
Sure. And first I want to say that, there are no mistakes and everything happens the way it's supposed to. So, this is the way it was supposed to be. And so I am very happy to be here with you this morning. I'm Diamond Ford. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I grew up around seniors my entire life. I was kind of like a little granny as a little girl.
Okay.
My mom passed when I was 2 years old from breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so, she was really young, 26 years old. And so I stayed with my grandmother. And so I stayed with my grandmother and I stayed with my father. And my grandmother still had her mom living and her grandmother living.
Holy cow.
So that was 5 generations. So, so I grew up around my grandmother, my great-grandmother, all my grandmother's aunts. And so really just had that village around me my entire life. And so, I came to Atlanta in 2007, went to cosmetology school at Paul Mitchell. Worked in a lot of different type of salons, eventually turned my condo into a salon because,
oh, wow.
Let's face it, when you're trying to build a clientele, it's really hard. Booth rent is expensive. You work in commission-based salons. They may just close down. Just different things were happening. So I turned my condo into a salon. And one of my clients who had been coming all of the time never talked about what she did for a living. One day said, hey, I've just been watching you and, how you interact with us and how you have this thing set up. How would you feel about managing a salon in a senior living community? Never heard of that, right? Didn't know that salons existed.
I would not have thought myself.
Inside of senior living communities, right? She's had that salon for 17 years. She said, how would you feel about managing it for me? So I thought about it. I agreed. I managed it for her. She retired. I got the contract at that particular community. A year later, corporate reached out and offered me a second contract, and I kind of just kept it going from there.
Wow. So tell us specifically what are the services that you're offering and where are those services being offered? I mean, you've sort of laid the groundwork, but just so that there's full transparency, because I know when we first met, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
So what are the types of services that you're offering?
So we are a full service beauty salon. So full service meaning we provide everything that a traditional salon, a brick and mortar would provide. That's color, cuts, permanent waves, nails, everything. So the only difference between us and your traditional salon is that we are only located inside of senior living communities.
That's the piece that I wanted to make sure that we got on record, because I care for my wife and I care for my mom, and that my first thought was great.
Yeah.
But I understand why you probably don't make house calls, or you don't make house calls, because it really too many variables in that environment. And how many senior living facilities are you in?
So we are in 5 communities right now. So shout out to our partners at the Piedmont Buckhead, at Hardest Buckhead, Sullivan House, Charter Vinings, Dunwoody Pines with Sunshine. So we love our community partners and growing.
Well, so let's talk about the types of services you said more, and forgive my lack of knowledge, but I'll go with a full salon experience as a summary.
Yeah.
In a full salon experience, working with the type of clientele that you and your teams are working with, that must present, let's say, some interesting challenges.
A little bit, but it's really not much different than your traditional salon. I mean, when you think about, children get their hair done. Everybody gets their hair done.
Sure.
Needs a haircut, right? So the only difference that you may see is maybe the mobility piece. And so, of course, if you're in a wheelchair, we're able to accommodate that. But other than that, our stylists are trained. We do train them in-house. So they're already licensed cosmetologists, but we train them specifically in what we call senior beauty care. And senior beauty care consists of not only how to style their hair, but how to assist them. So we're not lifting them, right? But we're able to assist them from maybe with their walker into the salon chair, you know? And then aside from that, we're also training our stylists on what we call the journey of care, meaning how to emotionally interact, how to deal with, you know, them moving in and out or even passing away, right? Because when you think about the relationship between a hairstylist or a barber and their client, it's a really close relationship. Actually, people say that, even higher than, you know, a bartender or a
you'll say things you wouldn't say, right?
Right? Yeah, people have really close relationships, and they talk about the things that they're going through, and so it's the same with our stylists and with our residents. You know, they build a bond with them, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're in rehab, or all of a sudden their family moves them and you never hear from them again. So we also train and talk about that and how to emotionally deal with that and how to care for not only the residents but for themselves, and how to interact with, like we talked about, with the CNAs, because they're a very big part of the relationships. A lot of times they're bringing them to their appointments.
Right.
And sometimes they're with them more than their own families are with them. So, you know, how to interact with them and make sure that we're giving them what they want.
Well, and in to be specific, you had mentioned a word earlier, and then I was able to use the same word when introducing you. I want to talk a little bit about what dignity means and how that plays into the work that you and your teams do. So what can you share with us about how you respect the dignity of your older your older clients?
Yeah. So one thing that, you know, we've talked a lot about this morning is our core values. And one of our core values is heritage preservation, right? And so our clients have lived a long life. So one of the oldest clients that we have had recently turned 111, right?
Holy cow.
111. And she is fully there, cognitive.
That's amazing.
And full of life, right? And she's excited about life, and she's excited about learning.
There's a lesson there, I think.
Yeah. And one of the things that I asked her, I said, her name is Peggy Cobb. I said, what was your favorite time period? And I thought she was going to say, oh, it was the 60s, or she said, right now.
Another lesson.
She said, right now, it's the most exciting time to be alive, Diamond. She was like, just look at everything and how the world's evolved. And you know what I mean? 111 years old. And so,
that's
you know,
amazing.
Yeah. And when I think about the type of stylist that we look for, right? We look for people who are heart-centered, purpose-driven, right? So, of course, we all want to make money. Everybody has to make money. We want to make a living.
Sure.
But people who are really heart-centered and want to make a difference in the lives of people, right? And so when we talk about heritage preservation, it's preserving these stories that they have, preserving these experiences that they're able to share with us so that we can learn from them, you know, and pass that on. So that's really important to us and to our mission.
It sounds like you should be writing some of these down, and you might have the makings of an amazing book.
Well, maybe.
So what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way as a business owner?
Oh, wow.
And that have helped you continue to grow? Because I think people can also benefit from all of our mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Or all of our wonderful opportunities that presented themselves.
Yeah.
What are a couple of things you might be able to share that made a difference?
Yeah. So one of my favorite books is called The E-Myth.
I'm very familiar with it.
Okay. And so the first 5 years I was in business, I was a solopreneur, right? And I had maybe one other stylist that, you know, would work with me, or an assistant or something like that. But I had no idea the difference between being a solopreneur and becoming an entrepreneur when I decided to enterprise. So the last 5 years when we decided to, you know, expand and go into different territories and hire and train stylists, I said, oh boy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everything I thought is magnified.
Exactly. You know, and you talk about building systems and, you know, being able to duplicate yourself and learning how to delegate and, you know, in finance
You're speaking my language,
and marketing and sales. Never thought of myself as a salesperson. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, when you're a solopreneur, of course, you have to sell, you have to market, but I never consider myself a salesperson, you know? So just learning all of those different components of business, but really it's really exciting, right? And I kind of became obsessed with founders and founder stories, and I just really love to hear them and to see, you know, their journeys and where it took them in the twists and turns, because it's all a lesson. You know, it really is. It's all a lesson, and there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. Yeah.
There's an old expression. I don't know where it came from, but you're either right or you're learning.
Exactly.
Right. You know, and if you're right, that's great. But there's more value coming out of the learning that you've got going on.
Absolutely.
Where do you hope to go? What's the goal as you continue to impact and get access to additional facilities? Do you have a longer term goal or dream?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely want to go nationwide. We're looking into the licensing model because I want to be able to keep the boutique small business functionality
the entrepreneur's dream.
You know what I mean? But be able to, become big enough. But I really want to focus on, and this is another one of our core values, purposeful partnerships, right? And so, we may come across a community where it's not a good fit. You know what I mean? Even if it's a large community and it's like, oh my God, yeah, there's 400 residents here. We know we can really ramp up business. But what is their mission? What do they care about? Do they care about, being able to create different experiences for their residents, or are they just trying to fill the space? You know what I mean? And so one of the things that's unique about our company is that we focus heavily on sensory experience. And
let's talk about that, because that is something very unique.
Yeah, so we focus on a full sensory experience. Our theme is Old Hollywood, and everybody can kind of relate to that, right? So when you come in, there's an experience that's happening. You're going to hear the music of their time, and that shifts. That's going to change.
That's a big mental impact.
Right? And you see the pictures on the wall, so you see all the old Hollywood stars, and that shifts. And here's a funny thing about that, right? So I was in the salon one day, and one of the residents came in, and she said, you need to update these pictures. They're old, right? And so we had like Clark Gable and Audrey Hepburn, and then she was like, we want to see Jane Fonda. She was like, we want to see Mick Jagger. So I immediately went and found,
new posters.
That's going to change. But what doesn't change is that immediate feeling that you get when you come into the space, right? And one thing that I learned recently in our studies with neural arts is that music is the singular only thing that hits all of the neurons in our brains at once. Which means music is something that you'll never forget. So when we talk about our memory care residents, right, and we have a special framework that we use when we work with our memory care residents, playing that music is really important.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I can only imagine that it triggers lots of different thoughts, feelings, and emotions.
Memories and all of that. And you'll be surprised. They may not recognize their daughter, but they know every word to that song.
I can only imagine, but just speaking from my own head, I am full of useless lyrics I don't need. and if I could only scrape them out and replace them with useful things. Right. But I get your point.
Yeah.
As you look towards the future, what are you excited about?
I am excited about bringing this niche market to many lives, especially those in the beauty industry. People coming out of cosmetology school that are trying to figure out what direction they want to go in, and not just those coming out of cosmetology schools, because really a lot of our staff that work with us are older stylists that may be semi-retired, but they still aren't aware of this sector of the business. So we're introducing senior beauty care to the market, and I'm excited about bringing that program into cosmetology schools and teaching this particular niche of senior beauty care. I'm really excited about that.
you have found the entrepreneur's dream. You found the untapped market, and that's fantastic. Now, for the sake of clarity, because anybody that's going to hear this or that you're going to share it with, who is it that you need to connect with in order to continue to grow your business? Because as I falsely assumed or wrongly assumed, you're not able to service people in their homes. So who is the person that's best to either reach out to you or for you to connect with?
So stylists, we talked about hiring, right?
Sure.
So
right, absolutely.
So we definitely need stylists, like I said, who are passionate and purpose-driven and really want to make an impact and make some money too.
Sure, of course.
And then sales directors, executive directors of senior living communities that would love to partner with us. We'd love to partner with you. We'd love to bring our beauty care experiences to your community. And so, anybody who is in the senior living space, we'd like to connect with as well. We're also working on an initiative called Stories in Motion. And our Stories in Motion initiative is us collaborating with fine arts establishments to bring those experiences into the community, and also to take our residents out to places like the Symphony and to the Center of Puppetry Arts. Yeah. So any fine arts institutions that love to partner with us, we'd love to partner with you and bring our residents to you so that they can have this full experience.
It sounds like you've got a lot going on.
I got a lot to do.
That's well, yeah. I think as the poet said, miles to go before you sleep.
Oh yeah.
What's the best way, Diamond, for folks to get in touch with you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Diamond Ford, the company Don't Touch My Hair by Hollywood as well. You can find us on Instagram, DTM Hair by Hollywood Salon, Facebook, everywhere, Don't Touch My Hair by Hollywood. And
we'll make sure to share all of those links so that folks who need to get a hold of you are able to get a hold of you. Yeah. Any final thoughts that you want to share?
Yes. So my final thoughts would be to be conscious about what you're putting out into the world, into the universe, right? People often say, or the famous quote would be, they'll forget what you did, they'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And when we are, dead and gone, what you put out is what will linger. You know what I mean? And so, we live in a spiritual world, not to get, but we live in a spiritual world. And so what you're putting out while you're here, it's what's going to last, And so, just be really conscious about that and love on the people that are around you.
I think that's a very solid message. Thank you very much for coming in today and for sharing your perspective. This guest is Diamond Ford. She's the founder and CEO of Don't Touch My Hair by Hollywood, a company providing luxury beauty services within senior living communities. Her career began in cosmetology, and clearly she is a rising star of an entrepreneur as she continues to build and grow her organization. Thank you again, Diamond, for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Coming up next, I'd like to introduce RJ and Asha Patel. They're the co-founders of PCT Clean and PCT Janitorial. Beyond serving just clients with their cleaning business, RJ and Asha also support One World, One Family Foundation, a global organization involved in humanitarian and healthcare initiatives around the world, and have had a massive impact here in our local community. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but let me start at the beginning and ask, first and foremost, what brought you two together? What brought you on this journey? And those can be two separate stories. How did we get here?
How did we get here? My car.
Ever the literalist.
Yes. But did you know our marriage was arranged?
I did not.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
So how did we come together? Our marriage was arranged.
40 years ago.
It seems to have worked out all right.
Yeah, she got lucky.
I would say so.
No?
She got something.
No? Oh.
I did get lucky.
No. I'm the lucky
I'm very
one.
blessed.
I'm the lucky one.
Okay. So now we know each other. Mm-hmm. What's the next step in the journey?
What's the next step? That's a good question, because it was in probably fall is when we reflected, because in January I turned 62. And so in the fall I'm reflecting back saying, hon, I'm going to turn 62. She's turning 60, which she did last Sunday. And it's
Happy belated to you both.
Thank you. What are we going to do? Do we let our business go sort of status quo? Do we retire? Or do we take it up a next notch? And I think, what did we decide to do?
Take it up a next notch.
Okay.
That's right.
That's exciting to hear.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your business first, and then we'll get into some of the other work that you guys do together. What's the difference between PCT Clean and PCT Janitorial?
PCT Clean is house cleaning, home cleaning. And it's focused on everything we do is cleaning for health,
Okay.
not just appearance. So you'll find, and I hope that the consumers out there can differentiate.
Well, let's educate.
Okay.
So what do you mean? Obviously, cleaning for appearance is what my daughter does: shove everything under the bed and in the closet and shut the door. That's
There you go.
And that's the
I don't
example I
pay her
use.
for that, but she does that.
Yeah, and that's the example I use, because when we were growing up, our parents said, go clean your room. What did that mean? Go make these surfaces, including the floor and the bed. If you make the bed, you're halfway there, because that's one of the biggest visual things that you see in a bedroom, right?
Sure.
And then the floor is the second largest. That's visible. And if you just shove everything under or in a closet and remove a few pieces of garbage, right? It's clean. But what did you do with the surfaces?
Usually not a thing.
Yes,
Maybe dust them with a dirty shirt.
exactly, exactly. So,
My mom's going to hear this, RJ.
good, and she's going to scold you again.
Yes.
But cleaning for appearance and cleaning for health, it's something that we teach our staff. We train these folks for 2 weeks on what cleaning for health is all about before they begin cleaning out there for our customers.
So take us deeper. You've clarified the difference. What do you mean by cleaning for health?
Who here knows the definition of clean or cleaning?
ChatGPT on my phone does, but I would just say it's an area devoid of mess, but that's pretty vague.
Cleaning is the process of, keyword, removing impurities, soil, dirt, bacteria from surfaces and the environment.
Okay.
Now, if you understand that definition, and then we deep dive into that, and I was trained by an amazing infectious disease doctor. He's a PhD from Australia. His name is Dr. Gavin McGregor Skinner. He is the executive director of GBAC, Global Biorisk Advisory Council. Now, this man is called by NATO. He's called by President Trump during COVID. He's the guy that trained me and my business partner, who's in Chicago, on how to clean for health.
Okay.
And because he trained us, today we're able to go and train others, including our own staff.
So has this always been a focus, or was it as a result of that interaction that changed your mutual perspectives on the way that you execute your cleaning business?
It doesn't matter whether it's money pages, whether it's hair salon. Each business has to evolve over time.
Sure.
The evolutions take something that sparks you.
Evolution followed by revolution.
Right. And this was one of those aha moments for us where it literally hit me hard. I was in a conference with him, and he said a few things, and it just, for some reason, right, there was a domino effect in my head about we should be doing boom, 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 boom. And that's what I went with.
And you took that immediately back into cleaning of homes.
Correct. And cleaning homes, offices, industrial, manufacturing plants. Yeah.
And at the risk of sounding silly on my part is how much of a key differentiator is that in the marketplace, taking and I'm making the assumption that if I'm a hospital or a medical office, I have a different understanding of cleaning as opposed to, a real estate office, right? Or just even my own home. How much does that resonate when you explain, as you just have with us, how different that leaves the environment that you and your staff are cleaning?
There's only one way. If I can show you the proof. And we can scientifically show you proof. Let's take this table.
Okay.
You clean one half of it the way you know how. I'll clean the other half of it the way I know how. We'll test it before with an ATP meter.
ATP.
Yep.
I don't know what that is.
An ATP meter is, and I don't know how to say the scientific name, but it's a meter that measures the level of bacteria.
Okay, fair enough. I
and
just didn't know what it
imperfections
was.
that live on a surface.
Okay.
It was used highly in the restaurant industry.
That makes
in
me
kitchens.
feel very good. Yeah.
Especially
ideally a
commercial
low
kitchens.
reading.
But then it was developed for the cleaning industry as well
Okay.
by Kikkoman,
And
the soy people.
really?
Yes.
Strange connection, but
Yes.
all right.
Yes. And so we can
Do a before and after
right.
to show you the numbers, how they reflect on a before surface is cleaned and then after.
So is it and this is, again, I'm asking from a place of wanting to learn, not just dramatically challenging. I mean, is it just wiping it down with bleach? Is it
bleach?
It's all about a towel, a microfiber towel.
Really?
With
So
it-
I don't
with-
need a super harsh, astringent chemical stripping of the wood?
Nothing.
Let's focus on what you just said. I don't need a super stringent chemical. So when you spray that chemical and you think you're cleaning, what are you doing to the environment?
Wrecking it?
Polluting the
Didn't we just say what cleaning is?
Right.
It's removal from surfaces and environment. So why would we pollute an environment thinking we're trying to clean a surface?
Because in all of my life, I've been educated that I need to use certain sprays and chemicals to clean a surface. That's been the general education as someone not in an industry. I don't want to use brand names, but that kills 99% of the germs if you spray it on there. Admittedly, with respect to Ramona, it's very effective marketing.
Very much is.
Because I could tell you the name of the product, but you all already know it.
Yeah. And we're led to believe that. But when you truly understand the definition of cleaning and you dissect it almost word by word and then put it all together, and that's what we did to come up with our own training and teachings for not only our staff, but the other work we do around the world.
Well, so let's talk about that a little bit. Would you educate us on what One World, One Family Foundation is?
It's a pleasure. So we have 3 verticals: healthcare, education, and nutrition.
Okay.
Okay? And anything we do within these 3 verticals, it's free. Okay?
Now
Let that sink in.
I want to draw a quick line. We are talking about One World, One Family Foundation.
Correct.
Just for clarity, and it's a global organization.
Correct. We have a footprint in 100 countries.
I just wanted to make sure anybody listening didn't think that PCT Clean was going to show up and be able to support them from a nutritional perspective.
Right.
So you said, it was nutritional,
Educational, healthcare.
and healthcare. So let's talk about what does the organization do and for whom does it do it?
So right now we have 10 million children that we feed breakfast to every morning in
pretty
3 different
heartwarming.
countries:
Okay.
India, Sri Lanka, Nigeria. Okay?
Okay.
And we want to grow that program, of course, right? But when you're doing it for free, you have to find strategic ways to partner with either local governments or federal governments, state governments, and to make this possible, right? But we produce that mix. It's a millet mix. We have a factory in a place called Mudanahalli, India.
Okay.
It's just outside of Bangalore.
Okay. And you're producing what becomes the nutritious
Correct.
breakfast for those
Correct.
10,000 children.
10 million.
I'm sorry, 10 million. Forgive me. Holy cow.
Right. So in the education line, we have about 28 campuses where we take these children. See, what happens is in rural areas, people don't have the transportation, the mode, or the parents don't have my child can go to the city kind of a mindset, right? And so they want to keep them close. Obviously, they're protective. So we take that school and build it in their area.
So that you're not taking the children out of the community.
Exactly. Not too far from them.
Right.
Right? Even though they're separate because these kids live on campus.
Oh, okay.
They're not too far. Okay? So many of them, they live on campus. Many of them, they go back and forth home. Okay?
Okay.
But what did they receive? Number one, a great education, a values-based education. Not religion, not anything else, values-based. Because I think that's one of those lost arts of teaching, right? You build a human being first, then that human being, a good one, becomes whatever they want to do in life.
Sure.
Marketing, hair, cleaning, doesn't matter, right? But we all need to be good first. And so it's values-based education. We have close to 5,000 students that we take out of these areas. And unfortunately, in some countries, right, including India, where some of the girls would never see these schools or these classrooms because they're sold off or something happens, right? And so our founder has found a way to go into these areas, bring them out of those areas, and promise the parents that their daughter or son is going to get a great education and be safe, right? They're fed, they're housed, they're uniformed, and they're educated for free.
That's
because most of these kids may not have even had a meal before they go to school, or even that opportunity to go to school. So,
and is it based on volunteer work as far as where are the educators from? Where are you finding all of these children? I mean, obviously there's no end to finding children in need, but in what mechanism? Is it just geographic? As you expand, you're adding new areas where you're offering?
Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example of Clarksdale, Mississippi.
in the U.S.
In the U.S.
I've been to
here.
Mississippi, and the divide is real.
Right.
It is real.
And I'm not throwing a stone. That's just a fact.
Yes.
So Asha, myself, and one of the leading people out of India came with us. We drove to Mississippi from here. And I promise you, my first thought, I didn't know what to expect.
We had never been there.
We had never been there. We hadn't heard of the name of the town.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Clarksdale, Mississippi? So there you go. Nobody has, but it's one of the poorest areas in America, period. Okay? Yeah. Not Mississippi, America.
I understand.
And so why that is because what did Mother Teresa do? She went where people wouldn't want to go. And she went and hugged people that people wanted to run away from.
Right.
And so our founder is the same way. He wants to go to places where people don't want to be. And so when
That's
the three
where
of
the
us...
needs the greatest, right?
Exactly.
Right, that's where the needs are.
And so when the three of us drove in, I don't think any of us said anything because we were stunned. And my thought, the thought that I had in my head was, did I just warp back to the 1970s?
Oh, I thought of the 1920s, my
In the
first visit
times,
to
yeah.
Mississippi, because there was no power, there was no water, there was no indoor plumbing, and people living there in lean-tos. This is not everywhere in Mississippi. This is the most poverty-stricken areas, and
Right.
it was shocking to me that this was here.
Yep. So we go there, we identify where we're going to build this medical clinic. So then, I took permission from, of course, my business partner, my wife, my everything, right, for 40 years. And I said, I'm going to go there. I stayed in a hotel there and built a 2,000 square foot medical clinic. And the local Chamber of Commerce gave us their building. And so we completely gutted and renovated into a medical facility.
Wow.
And, you know, a lot of times when you do God's work, right, versus business, I've got business people in here.
Sure.
All right. And I know you probably say that defies logic, and it's okay if you tell me that. But when you do God's work, you don't start with a budget. You start with a vision.
Right.
And that vision is, what does this clinic look like when it's done? And so I'm a visualizer. So I sat there and said, okay, God, draw that picture for me, because I'm having a hard time looking at this thing. And so he did. And then he guided me. And then we came up with the clinic. And then we're like, oh, okay, this is what it cost. And that's how we work. And everything was taken care of by people who have hearts,
Sure.
people who knew that I was over there doing this work, and they would say, can I donate this much? Can I do this? Can I do? And I'm like, whatever you want to do, whatever your heart tells you to do, you do.
And I presume that clinic is now up and functioning?
It sure is.
But the way it's functioning, we have a doctor. She was in Augusta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. She got her license in Mississippi. She wrapped up everything she was doing in Augusta, moved there, purchased a home and moved there.
And lives there now.
Okay. We have a doctor who commutes back and forth from Anniston, Alabama. We have a doctor who wrapped up everything in Anderson, South Carolina. She moved there, purchased a home and moved there. We have another doctor, Dr. Jeannie. She's a psychologist. She was in Portland, Oregon. She sold everything there, moved to Clarksville, Mississippi. It's their calling. These doctors are working for free.
$4.
So you asked me earlier, how? Volunteers, this, that. These ladies are pure volunteers, but they're pouring their heart into this community and taking care of those people.
And do you know how many people it's able to serve?
We started with a 2-patient room clinic. We had to grow to a 12-patient room clinic.
It's a hard statement to try to rationalize. I'm thrilled to hear that. I wish it wasn't necessary. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's wonderful that you were able to expand to meet the need. I wish the need wasn't so great. But those are two mutually exclusive statements.
Yeah.
And
the key thing, I think, what I want to say, these amazing ladies that are there, doctors, in America, we say health care. Mm-hmm. And I can honestly tell you, sometimes the word care is left out of the health part. These women put care into each and every individual. They don't say, well, the previous patient had this, so you must have this. Because I was a victim of that. And so they look at this individual and really focus in on their family, what's going on, their diet, the whole 9 yards, and spend
as long as they need on each patient. Just because it's free doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to get you in and out.
Sure, because I have an appointment with a doctor next week, and he allotted me 15 minutes. Whatever my problem is, I get 15 minutes, and that's it.
And you better not be late.
No, and I'll have to pay a fee.
Of course.
So where my work comes in is infection prevention.
Okay.
So that clinic, you can imagine the demographic that comes into that clinic.
Anywhere in the world, if you've got 12 rooms full of people that are ill, you have things you got to deal with.
And children.
Right.
And how much, the number one way we transfer bacteria, germs, everything is this right here. And we don't wash our hands that often. And when we do, we don't really wash it the way it's needed to be washed.
Since COVID, I say the whole alphabet, I swear.
Right?
I do.
Or the happy birthday song.
Yeah, either one.
And the most things that are not even cleaned are the most touched surfaces. Switch plates, door handles.
Oh, yeah.
Are
Well,
the
I'm still
most
touching
touched.
the faucet to turn it on.
Right.
So how much good am I actually doing, right?
So, yeah.
That's an excellent point, that it's the most common areas,
Right.
I presume. So just for clarity's sake, so the One World, One Family Foundation, if people wish to donate or help, do you know their website? If not, I'll get it from you to make sure we can share that information.
You just said it. One world,
One world, one family.
Foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah.
.org.
.org.
There you go. Look at that. We got there, but we'll make sure to share that. But I want to force you guys to talk about something you are less comfortable talking about, which is your business. And it's because you are gracious and caring and clearly putting the needs of others first. But if someone, and it's important, right, because if we're talking about establishing values-based education and we're talking about establishing good people, without intending to, you guys just proved you are very well aligned with the betterment of humanity. And a lot of people, as Ramona and Diamond both pointed out, seek to do business with those who care about others. So for a minute, tell me about PCT Clean and PCT Janitorial. Who do they serve? And if someone is interested, which should they call?
We also serve all of the areas like Joanna mentioned, Kennesaw, Marietta, Ackworth, Woodstock, Cartersville, up in High Road.
So Northwest Georgia.
All Northwest Georgia.
And RJ spelled out very clearly, you do work in homes?
Homes and offices.
And is that the division between the two, or is PCT Janitorial something else?
That is the commercial side of it. PCT
Okay, and on the janitorial side, are there specific, with the focus on cleaning for health, do you have a specific medical or hospital focus there, or you'll service any business?
We would, just like on the home side, what we want on the home side are people that are busy, right? People that want someone they can trust, all right? This is my 49th year in Kennesaw.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I came here when I was almost 14. I was born and raised in England, came here when I was almost 14, and I've been in Kennesaw for 49 years. I hope we have earned people's trust, right? And by the type of business we do, I think we need to be trustworthy, don't you?
Well, you're in people's homes.
Right.
It's the most sacred thing that they can physically own is their home, right?
And the highest value ownership is a home, not even their cars.
Depends on the car.
Well, they're true. The homes we serve, I know.
Fair enough. So thank you for clarifying what it is PCT Clean and PCT Janitorial do, and we will make sure that we post links so that people know that there are good people who serve our community out there that are willing and able to not just clean for appearance, but to clean for health. But I do have to bring you back into the world that I know you prefer to live in. Tell me what you do to help. I believe you do it once a year, but it's an ongoing thing for cancer patients.
It's year-round.
It is year-round.
It is year-round.
So tell us about this program so that people are aware of it. And I'm asking because I know you wouldn't volunteer it.
So we clean homes for free for women that are going through chemo and radiation.
Okay.
Because we know what the home means to the lady of the home. It's everything. And so we feel that the way we clean for health, and I know that what we can do is, number one, take that chore off of her list and the family, because if she can't do it, then the husband or the kids have to do it.
Right.
And we would rather take care of that for her and the family so she can heal better in that home.
Okay.
Because it's a psychological impact and a health value that we bring when we clean for them. And that's something we do year-round through a national organization called Cleaning for a Reason. And you can just go on that website, Cleaning for a Reason, and nominate someone, and they qualify them. And then next thing you know, if they're in our service area, we get to serve them. Right. Yeah. And then in the month of October, we love to do this. Every weekday, we want to partner with a local business and go out, identify
that was the once a year thing that I think stuck in my head.
in the month of October, which is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we want to clean one home per day on a weekday and take care of these patients.
I can't commend you enough. My wife is a cancer survivor, so I can tell you that you're doing very, very good work. Not that I suspect you didn't think you were, but just to hear it from somebody on the outside. So we've established who you are. We've established how you work. We've established what your priorities are with regards to cleaning for health as opposed to cleaning for appearance. What's the last thing people should take from this conversation? Because it was actually, today was a way more spiritual day than I thought it was going to be walking in the door. But that's only because sometimes the business coach in me forgets that everyone has, say, their true self as opposed to just their business self. I mean, we all have to make money to eat. We all have to make money to survive. But it's the why behind, I guess. So what's one thing we should remember about our time together?
I'm going to make an ask, and I normally don't.
Okay.
Because I love to do God's work, but I like to do it behind the scenes because I don't need to impress anybody, right? He's keeping tabs.
You did nothing to give us that impression that this was not for none of the work that the two of you are doing is for your own glory. You made that clear by not bringing it up.
This is all kudos to our team, our staff. I think earlier you mentioned the number of paychecks, right? A couple of weeks ago, Asha mentioned to me that, do you know there are 45 checks we write every week? And so 45 families depend on us.
Which
right?
by extension makes that at least 150 people depend on you showing up every day.
And so we take that very seriously. And the reason we want to take our business to the next level is we want to continue doing more work that we do on a global level and teach people. So I just came from Fiji, where we have a hospital there.
A working trip, for clarity.
Totally. My sixth one in 2.5 years, okay?
Yeah, if you're going that often, you're not going for fun.
No. Next week, I go to India. In July or August, we are opening a 600-bed free hospital.
Wow.
Okay? Here it is.
That looks like the Capitol building.
Correct.
Very similar.
Yeah.
This is
you'll
not a
share
rendering.
That with me, we'll post that online.
This is an
folks
actual picture of the building. And this is a 600-bed free medical tourism hospital. So any ailment anybody has, they can fly here to India, Bangalore, right? Go here, get whatever service you need, provided we're currently offering it.
Sure.
Done, accomplished. Knee operation, heart operation, back operation, whatever it is. And then once you heal, come back home. No cost to you except your flight.
That's incredible.
Okay. I get to go here next week and set the cleaning standards, the protocol standards, and help them develop everything to make sure that if you should go there from here, you're going to be in a safe environment.
That's pretty important. So what's your ask?
My ask is that if you align with, you don't have time for cleaning, whether it's a manufacturing plant, a hospital, medical centers, homes, and you have a heart to serve, know that, yes, we want to make a profit, right? But know that the profits are going somewhere in a really good place.
Okay.
Okay? Because I'm good. God's blessed me, blessed us, right?
Right.
But if we can do more, I want to clean more and I want to do more. And that's why we want to scale more.
It's a great message. Thank you both. I want to thank both RJ and Asha Patel, the co-founders of PCT Clean and PCT Janitorial. Really, they've proven that they go beyond a cleaning business. They are huge supporters of One World, One Family Foundation. They've taught us today the difference between cleaning for appearance versus cleaning for health. And I dare say anybody that's heard that phrase and had it explained is going to have a very hard time forgetting it. And that's a good thing because it clearly matters. Thank you both for the incredible work you continue to do both in our community and on a global scale. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you both here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a wonderful day here today with Ramona Long from the Money Pages, Diamond Ford by Don't Touch My Hair by Hollywood, and RJ and Asha Patel, the co-founders of PCT Clean and PCT Janitorial. I just need to let you know that today's episode is brought to you in part by our community partner program, the Business Radio X Main Street Warriors, defending capitalism, promoting small business, and supporting our local community. For more information, go to mainstreetwarriors.org. And a special note of thanks to our title sponsor for the Cherokee chapter of Main Street Warriors, Diesel David Inc. Please go check them out at dieseldavid.com. My name is Joshua Kornitsky. I am a professional implementer of the entrepreneurial operating system and your host here today on Cherokee Business Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.